Have you ever thought a peaceful little suburban street could turn into a war zone over something as ridiculous as a key? Well, buckle up, because what happened in my neighborhood ended with police, handcuffs, and a helicopter. Yes, a helicopter. Hey there, Tom Whitaker here. I'm a semi-retired security engineer living in a quiet cul-de-sac in Willow Creek, Virginia. I spent over 35 years designing high-level security systems, government buildings, top-tier vaults, places where you don't just wander in. So yeah, I know a thing or two about locks, rights, and personal property. My neighborhood was your typical friendly suburb. Kids rode their bikes, neighbors waved good morning, and the biggest drama was whose dog dug up whose flower bed. That is, until Evelyn Hartwell moved in, our brand new HOA president. Self-appointed, of course. She was like a walking HOA violation notice. Mid-60s, driving a spotless black Cadillac SUV that probably cost more than my house. Always in pastel blazers starched so stiff you could cut glass with them. Her hair, platinum bob, unmoving, like it was super glued in place. She didn't campaign. She didn't ask. She simply showed up at every doorstep with her clipboard, pointing out your mailbox height or your untrimmed bushes. Nobody voted for her because, frankly, nobody voted at all. And Evelyn took that silence as royal approval. At first, she was simply annoying. The HOA newsletter, once filled with potluck invites and kids' soccer schedules, turned into a fine and violation report. Your fence was too bright. Your wind chimes were noise pollution. Your kid's basketball hoop, an unsightly hazard. Poor Mrs. Clara Thompson, 82 years old and living here since the Nixon era, got cited because her prized peonies shed petals on the sidewalk. Petals. That's how ridiculous it became. I'd watch Evelyn cruise by in that shiny Cadillac, eyes sharp like a shark smelling blood. Still, I figured I'd keep my lawn tidy, my hedges trimmed, and stay off her radar. Big mistake. 6 months into her reign of terror, Evelyn dropped the real bomb at an HOA meeting. No one showed up except me because I'm the kind of guy who reads the fine print. She stood at the shaky clubhouse podium, grinning like she'd just cured cancer, and announced the Community Safety Key program. What was that, you ask? Oh, just a plan to give the HOA a master key to every home in Willow Creek, for emergencies and inspections. Her voice was dripping with that syrupy sweetness you hear from shady car dealers. The room went dead silent. Even her 2 lapdog board members, Tim and Linda, squirmed in their chairs. I calmly raised my hand and asked, Evelyn, can you show me the law that says the HOA is allowed to keep a key to my private home? Because I'm pretty sure that's called trespassing. For a split second, the corner of her smile cracked, but she recovered fast. Mr. Whitaker, this is for the greater good. A proactive step to maintain high standards. Proactive, my foot. I politely but firmly told her that forcing homeowners to surrender keys was a legal disaster waiting to happen, violating privacy laws, property rights, you name it. I even asked what locksmith in their right mind would make such a sketchy key. Her reply? The board has approved it, and that's final. Yeah, the board, meaning herself and 2 terrified yes-men. I went home steaming. This wasn't about safety. It was about control. About Evelyn wanting to own every inch of our lives. But she had picked the wrong house to mess with. I buried myself in state law, HOA bylaws. And guess what? She had no legal right to do what she was trying to pull. None. So I drafted a certified letter refusing the program, refusing to hand over a key, refusing to let anyone tamper with my locks. Then I upgraded everything. High security deadbolts no master key could crack, and HD security cameras recording every inch of my porch. My daughter Sarah, 911 dispatcher, laughed when I told her, Dad, you're overthinking. She's just a power-hungry Karen. But she also knew me. When I draw a line, I don't move. And Evelyn? She wasn't happy. The next thing I knew, my mailbox was leaning dangerously. My grass? Too tall by a quarter inch. Violation notices flooded my mailbox. I responded with photos, measurements, even statements from my landscaper. Didn't matter. She kept driving by, eyeing my house like she was waiting for me to crack. It was like living in a prison yard. Some neighbours quietly showed support, like Clara, slipping me pressed flowers or news clippings about HOA nightmares. But most kept their heads down. They were scared she'd turn on them next. And then things got weird. Word spread Evelyn had hired some back alley locksmith from another county to craft her master key. She started scheduling voluntary lock inspections, only they didn't feel very voluntary. Her letters hinted at fines, lawsuits, consequences. I ignored her. That's when petty turned to personal. My car door, scratched. My morning paper, missing. Coincidence, maybe. But I logged everything. More cameras, more records. The tension was unbearable. And then came the day of the showdown. A quiet Tuesday, coffee in hand. I heard the sound, someone fiddling with my front door lock. My heart jumped. I peeked through the blinds. There she was, Evelyn Hartwell, lime green blazer brighter than the sun, smug as ever. Shiny HOA master key in hand, jamming it into my lock like she was cracking Fort Knox. But my lock? Oh no, top grade, high security custom tumblers. No chance. She wiggled, jiggled, shoved. Nothing. My camera caught every humiliating second in crystal clear HD. Finally, she gave up and yanked out her phone. I knew what was coming. Sarah was on duty that day at 911. Later, she told me Evelyn's call was pure gold. This man, Tom Whitaker, he's barricaded, dangerous, he's armed. I need a helicopter now. SWAT, Special Forces. Sarah kept her cool, asking textbook questions to expose the madness. Is anyone hurt? Has he made threats? Evelyn ranted louder. Sarah, knowing it was my house, must have been holding back laughter the whole time. And then, the unmistakable thump of helicopter blades. You heard that right. A police helicopter, sirens, cruisers, fire trucks, an ambulance. My sleepy street turned into a scene from a disaster movie. I opened my front door, calm as could be. Cardigan, slippers, coffee mug in hand. Evelyn spun and shrieked, "That's him, officer! Dangerous! Deranged!" Sergeant Ali, tough, seasoned, looked at me, then at her circus. "Morning, Sergeant," I said. "Bit much for a Tuesday, don't you think?" Ali asked her the key questions. "Ma'am, did he threaten you? Did he brandish a weapon?" "Well, no, but—" I explained everything. Calm, precise. She tried breaking into my house with an illegal HOA master key. When it didn't work, she called you. I pulled out my tablet, showed the video. Evelyn fumbling at my lock, waving her arms, screaming for an airlift. The cops' faces darkened. "Ma'am," Ali said, "false 911 calls are a crime. Wasting emergency resources is serious." Evelyn gasped. But before she could make excuses, "Cuff her," Ali ordered. The sweet click of handcuffs was music to my ears. Neighbours poured onto their porches, grinning wide. Clara did a little happy dance. Turns out Evelyn was stealing HOA funds too, paying off that shady locksmith, hiding money, cooking the books. My security footage and Sarah's recorded call? Solid gold. Her court case was a circus. Her lawyer cried that she was protecting the community. The jury wasn't buying it, especially not after seeing the video of her screaming for helicopters over a man in slippers. Guilty on every count. Felony false reporting, fraud, embezzlement, 5 years in prison, a fat bill for the wasted emergency response. Her perfect platinum bob wilted at last. And Willow Creek? It bloomed again. New HOA board, fair rules, flowers returned, wind chimes sang, garden gnomes popped up on lawns, and me? Back to quiet mornings and coffee, still the guy who took down the Queen of Quail Lane. So tell me, what do you think? Was Evelyn just a control freak gone mad? Or did she really believe her own lies? Got an HOA nightmare story that can top this? Drop it in the comments. I've got time and popcorn.